All right, let's talk about a car job that sounds intimidating but is secretly one of the most satisfying and money-saving things you can do yourself: changing your own brake pads. I promise, by the end of this, you're not just going to know how to do it, you're going to feel like a certified garage hero. So, let's dive in.
You know that sound, right? That horrible, high-pitched screech every single time you even think about touching the brakes. It's like nails on a chalkboard. Or maybe you've got that deep, gravelly grinding noise. Well, that's not just your car complaining, that's the sound of your wallet starting to sweat.
And I am not exaggerating. Taking your car to a shop for a brake job can easily cost you over $800, and that's often just for one axle. That is a ridiculous amount of cash for something that you can absolutely 100% do yourself in an afternoon. Look, I get it. The idea of messing with your brakes feels a little scary. But this quote right here hits the nail on the head. It's one of the biggest myths in the DIY world. The truth is, it's just a nuts and bolts job. And let me be clear, if you have ever successfully changed a flat tire, you already have all the basic skills you need to do this. For real.
Okay, so first things first. Before we can slay the beast, we need the right weapons. So let's put together your brake slaying kit. And don't you worry, you are not going to need some giant $10,000 professional toolbox to get this done.
So here's the breakdown. On the left, you got your absolute essentials: a jack stands, we'll talk more about those, a lug wrench, and a basic socket set. Chances are you already have most of this stuff. That C-clamp, that's going to be our secret weapon. Now the stuff on the right is great if you have it. It makes the job a little easier, a little cleaner, but are they deal breakers? Nope, you can totally pull this off with just the must-haves.
All right, you got your tools? Perfect. Now it's time for the fun part: taking stuff apart. This is where we say a not-so-fond farewell to those squeaky, worn-out old pads.
Here's our game plan, and it's super straightforward. We'll crack the lug nuts loose while the car's still on the ground. That's a key tip. Then we lift it up safely, get the wheel off, and that gives us access to the caliper and the pads. See? Simple, logical steps.
Okay, I'm going to get serious for just a second, because this is the one rule you absolutely cannot ignore. A jack is for lifting the car. Jack stands are for holding the car. You never, ever, ever get underneath a car that is only held up by a jack. They are not designed for that, and they can fail. This is the one step where there are zero shortcuts. Safety first, always.
Now here's a tip that will absolutely save your sanity later. Before you loosen a single bolt on the brake assembly, pull out your phone and take a couple of pictures from a few different angles. Trust me on this. This is your personal undo button. When you're putting it back together and you're thinking, wait, how did that little metal clip go on again? Your photo gallery is going to be your best friend.
So once that wheel is off, you're going to be staring at the brake caliper. To get it off, you're looking for two bolts. They're called the guide pin bolts, and they're almost always on the back side of the caliper. A ratchet makes quick work of these, and once they're out, the main body of the caliper will slide right off. And here is our second non-negotiable safety rule. See that rubber hose attached to the caliper? That's the brake line. It is not a handle. It is not meant to hold weight. Do not just let that heavy caliper dangle from it. That is a recipe for a very bad, very expensive day. The fix is so simple. Just use a bungee cord or a bent piece of a coat hanger to hang the caliper securely from the suspension spring.
And just like that, the old parts are out. Now we get to the really satisfying part of the job: putting in all those clean, shiny, new parts.
So, your new brake pads are nice and thick, right? Which means they won't fit unless we make some room. We have to push that round piston back into the caliper housing. And here's where that secret weapon, the C-clamp, comes in. You just place one of the old brake pads over the piston and slowly, gently tighten the C-clamp. It's the perfect tool for the job. I'm telling you, this is the most satisfying 10 seconds of the entire process. As you turn the handle on that C-clamp, you'll see the piston just effortlessly and smoothly slide right back into place. It feels like some kind of weird garage magic. It's awesome.
Okay, you want to know the little secret that separates a good brake job from a great one? This is it. Take a wire brush and clean up the little metal clips that the pads slide in. Then, put a tiny little bit of brake grease on the metal tabs or ears of the new pads. This tiny step is what prevents future squeaks and ensures everything moves smoothly. So putting it all back together is basically just doing everything in reverse. The new clips and pads slide in, you bolt the caliper back on, get the wheel on, but take a very close look at that last step. Step number 5. You see how it's in all caps with an exclamation point? Yeah, there is a very, very, very good reason for that. Please listen to this very carefully. Because you push that piston back in, there's now a gap between your new pads and the brake rotor.
If you start the car and try to drive away, your foot is going to go straight to the floor, and you will have 0 brakes. Before you even think about putting the car in gear, you have to sit inside and pump the brake pedal over and over until it feels nice and firm. This is the most important safety step of the entire job.
Okay, so the car stops. The job is technically done. You could pack up your tools and call it a day. But if you want to get the absolute best performance and life out of your new brakes, there's one last little step. Think of it like the secret handshake that all the pro mechanics know. It's called bedding in the brakes, and it sounds way more complicated than it is. All we're doing is breaking them in properly. The goal is to heat everything up in a controlled way, which transfers a super thin, even layer of the brake pad material onto the metal rotor. That layer is what gives you that fantastic, smooth, powerful stopping ability.
And here's the recipe. It's really simple. Find a safe, empty road. You're going to do about 5 medium-effort stops, say from 40 miles per hour down to about 10. Then do 3 slightly harder stops from a bit faster. The key here is you never come to a complete stop. After that, just drive around normally for 5 or 10 minutes to let everything cool down, then park it. That's it. You're done.
And that's it. You did it. You actually did it. You took on a job that most people are too scared to try. You saved yourself a whole bunch of money, and you learned something new about your car. That's more than just a repair. That's basically a new superpower.
So, you've proven you can do this. You've got the tools, you've got the confidence, you know your car a little bit better now. So the only real question left is, what project are you going to conquer next?